With the rising cost of living in Colorado, a new trend is popping up across Denver. More people are choosing to live in micro units. Now, those are apartments that are less than 500 square feet. So joining me now is architect Stephen Dinya, and he's behind the Cabin Apartments in the RiNo Arts District. And tell us, why are people turning to these micro units?
Well, first of all, it is an economic question. And as cities have become healthier, not during this pandemic, but in general, over the last decade, cities have really reemerged as desirable places to live. And the denser they become and the more services they offer and the more social activity reduces the absolute necessity of your own dwelling unit providing everything for you. And I think people also would prefer to live either alone or with their partner instead of these unrelated roommate situations. So, essentially it's economic.
We were just taking a look at some of your video of the Cabin Apartments. So as an architect, how do you maximize space when designing these apartments?
So when designing microhousing, we try to think of it as cubic feet instead of square feet, because the desire is to use every nook and every possible void anywhere in the space for creating a situation where there's a place for everything and everything is in its place, because clutter is the enemy of microhousing. Initial design decisions are to make the ceilings taller. In Cabin, we have lids on the bathroom and there's storage above. And in surveying how they're used, that storage is essential to living comfortably in a small space. Also, the tall ceilings and generous windows help to expand the space and connect it to the outdoor landscape. And in the case of Cabin, we have garage doors, which when fully open, make the space feel much larger than it actually is.
Yeah, I think that's was my favorite part about those, was that garage door. It's really neat to be able to open that up and enjoy, especially on those nice Colorado days we have.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about the kinds of people who are renting micro units and maybe the amenities they're looking for in this type of space.
Well, first of all, I think that micro housing works better in locations that have amenities that expand beyond their space. So in Cabin, the taxi campus offers a health club and cafe and restaurant and other things. And I think micro housing works better when it's along public transportation routes, when it's close to cities, so that you can engage in urban activity. They're primarily young singles and couples. It allows them, where they formerly would have to have a roommate, they're allowed to have their privacy.
Very interesting. I just think it's so neat to see how you guys use the space. So tell us too, your firm is behind a few projects in the RiNo area, including the Source Hotel. So what was it like transforming that space? I know so many people love the Source.
Well, the Source was a real catalyst for RiNo. It was one of the early things that happened. I have photographs of Brighton Boulevard when we started working on that project, and it was mostly junkyards, no curbs and gutters. And the interesting thing was, it really drew people from all over the city who would never have a reason to come to this neighborhood. And I think that helped other developers, and it helped the area revitalize itself quicker, because it was a opportunity to sort of see what might be going on there. And then when we finished that, we did the hotel next door, which also is an exercise of taking small square footages and with really good design, make the room more than it seems to be. So in the case of the Source Hotel, we used big windows and garage doors, but we faced everything toward the view. So the beds were facing toward the window, the desks were in front of the window. So when you sat and worked on your computer, you were looking out at the view.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us.
Thank you.
And to see all of our stories on the micro living trend, you can head over to cbsdenver.com. We'll be right back.